Welcome to 3 Point Play Sports. I'm your host, Louis Stanridge, and joining me as usual, my co-host, Kyle Verska.
We've made it to the first Week 18 ever, Lewis. How's that feel?
It's definitely weirder than I thought. It's
Weird. Why is that? You don't like the number 18?
just, I know, usually you have the mix of like fantasy playoffs that a lot of times will bleed into week 17, and it's kind of like it's just that in itself was weird before, but now it's like almost everything fantasy has definitively cut off at week 17, so we don't have that extra awkwardness going into week 18. So in many ways, it's like, well, we should be done by now. To me, the best thing I can equivalent it to is like it feels like the bubble.
Did you just say equivalate?
What am I trying to say? Equivocate?
Equate?
Equate?
Equate? Yeah.
It feels like the bubble NBA playoffs. That's what it feels like. It's that level of what's going on here.
So you're just saying it's fake then? That's where you're at? It's fake?
Yeah, it's with an asterisk.
Gotcha.
How about you?
Okay. I'm more excited than you are. I mean, if before this year you played fantasy to week 17, you're a monster. So if you're playing fantasy to week 18, you're an even bigger monster. You're the monster of monsters or something. I don't know how you'd want to phrase it, but nobody should be playing fantasy this week. That's madness.
Yeah, it's probably the best thing.
So week 16 done. I like it.
Best thing to come out of 18 weeks is like you just needed that one last week for fantasy football. And I feel like now we're at a good number with the fantasy football schedule. I'm sure players hate this. I still think we can do more with the buys and scheduling. It's just a brutal schedule. You can tell by the injuries just with fantasy football alone. But all that aside, you want to run us through how we did last week, and then we'll jump into what for many teams is a meaningless week 18.
Yeah. So, I was threatening going 500 in our locks or my locks this year, and then I went 0-3 last week with Chiefs, Cowboys, Bills.
Nice.
Bills didn't cover by half a point.
Stupid.
Chiefs were rolling for a half and then went to sleep in the second half and lost.
Yeah.
And then the Cowboys just straight up didn't show up. You had Washington, the Seahawks, and the Browns, which I believe made you go 1-2, right? I don't remember.
That sounds right. Yeah, Washington lost by half a point.
Yeah, so you were also a half a point loser, which is brutal. So you went 1-2. You do have a chance, though. You are 2 away from tying me. So if you go 3-0 this week, there's a good chance you'll either tie me or beat me. So, but that's also with a week where you didn't do anything, which you could have come up with 0-3. Dog of 3.5 or more to win outright. I had the Dolphins. You had Washington. They both lost.
Yeah.
Highest scoring team. I had the Bills. You had the Niners. I won by, I think, 2 points. And then our week-to-week bets, you had the Niners with 250-plus rushing yards. That did not happen. Trevor Lawrence, 3+ interceptions. He threw 3. Got a win with -1 for the first time all year. So, good job by me. But, yeah, that's how it went last week with just a bunch of weird results.
Yeah, I think Trevor Lawrence may be up there with almost anybody in terms of ready for the season to be over. Just what an awful first year for my guy. Just brutal. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into week 18. I'm going to hopefully rely on you to just factor in which games matter and which ones don't.
I've got playoff scenarios pulled up, Lewis. I'm ready.
Perfect. Okay, well, one that I think maybe only determines seeding. Obviously, the Chiefs are already in. The Broncos are out. So I think the Chiefs could win. I believe they could take the 1 seed if they win and the Titans lose. Is that correct?
Nailed it. I don't think you need me. Nailed it.
Yeah, we'll see when we get to the fringe teams. So first game, Saturday. I think this is all. There's 2 games on Saturday. Kansas City Chiefs -9.5 on the road face Denver Broncos. Broncos rolling out Drew Lock, and I think this is definitely a disappointing season for them. But who do you like in this one?
Do we have confirmation that it's Drew Lock? I also
Last I heard.
assumed. Yeah, I assumed that it was. If it's Drew Lock, then I'm going to take the Chiefs. I just can't imagine Drew Lock doing anything against the Chiefs defense that was playing really well until they ran into the Burrow buzzsaw last week. So I like the Chiefs a lot in this game. They definitely would rather have the 1 seed than not get it, just like most teams would. The obvious thing that I just said. But I think the Chiefs, after last week especially, they don't want to go out in the regular season on a down note here. I think they just roll the Broncos, who have packed it in.
I think obviously this goes probably without saying for a lot of people, it's the toughest week to kind of pick because a lot of times you get these matchups where it's one team that has everything to play for against a team that has nothing to play for, and everything in logic tells you, okay, well, that's an easy pick. And it only really works out that way seemingly half the time. But I will say, just motivations aside, a normal week, this is probably as close to a normal game as you're going to get for the most part in Week 18. I'm taking the Chiefs minus 9.5. I think they can absolutely steamroll this team. Drew Lock, that offense is absolutely brutally painful to watch. And even if it's Bridgewater, I'm not sure I have that much more confidence because he's really lost his mojo second half of the season. So give me the Chiefs minus 9.5. The defense is coming on strong. I think this is a great, there's no scoreboard watching, so they're going to make a statement here and say, okay, we've done our part. Titans, go ahead and show up tomorrow if you feel like it, but we're just going to steamroll the Broncos, get ourselves in the groove heading into the playoffs.
Yep.
Next game, Saturday night, Dallas Cowboys 11-5 on the road to face Philadelphia Eagles 9-7, and I believe both of these teams are firmly in. Eagles,
yes,
plus 7.5 here. I am taking the Eagles. I am locking the Eagles. The Cowboys, outside of that Washington game, have, I think, been sneaky, a little inconsistent, especially on the offensive side. And I know the obvious thing is to go back and say, well, look, they put up like 50-plus points on Washington. I think you really have to toss it out for an outlier that it is. Philadelphia has been very consistent. They're solid on both sides of the ball, and I'm getting more than a touchdown as a home divisional underdog. It's a lock for me.
Yeah. Everything you just said, I agree with. I've got the Eagles as well. Just for an update, the Cowboys have clinched the division. The Eagles will finish as either the 7 seed or the 6 seed, depending on what happens. Right now, they're the 7, but if the Niners lose and the Saints win, they'll move up to 6. So the most likely playoff opponents for the Eagles are the Rams, Buccaneers, or Cardinals.
Yeah.
Depending on how it all shakes out. So Eagles at home, 7.5. Too many defense that at least has a pulse for as bad as the Cowboys' offense is.
Yeah, and as we go through here, and when we get to these games where it's meaningless for both sides, we're just gonna kind of breeze through them. Cincinnati Bengals 10-6 on the road to face Cleveland Browns 7-9. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, both backup quarterbacks are starting in this game.
Oh, I have not heard. I have not kept up with the Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay, I people had said at the end of that Chiefs game that Burrow looked like maybe he tweaked his knee. I don't know if there's how much motivation there is for them to win this game. But having said that, I feel like if both backups are playing, I'm taking the Browns here. It's just
Brandon Allen is indeed playing.
Okay, well then, give me Case Keenum. I think there's the smallest of advantages there, and I think the Bengals, coming off that super high of winning the Chiefs game last week, a game that they really don't care about. They know they're in the playoffs. Perfect spot for the Browns to. It seems like an upset, but they're favored here.
So the Bengals could have gotten the 1 seed in two different scenarios. So it's strange that they're just deciding to completely punt on that.
Maybe they're just not expecting the Chiefs to lose.
Well, but then why not just make that your decision since they play the day before? Like, if they lose, then all you would need is to win and the Titans and Patriots to lose.
That's just too many factors, I think. What's that, like
fine,
2% chance?
So the other way is they win, the Titans lose, the Chiefs lose, and the Bills win. So, which the Bills are playing the Jets. So, like, it seems like, if the Chiefs lose, like, why not try to play for the 1 seed? But, yeah, if it's Brandon Allen, I mean, despite, Woo Pig Sooie and everything, I'll take the Browns as well.
Yeah, of all of the Arkansas alumni, I think I've heard you tout him very few times.
Well, I mean, he's a backup quarterback, so he's didn't get a lot of run. I remember last year in week, I don't know.
He played like 8 games last year.
Yeah, but in week 14 or 15, he threw for a ton of yards. But yeah, he's just kind of a guy.
He's a guy. Yeah. Next game up, Green Bay Packers 13-3 on the road to face Detroit Lions 2-13-1. Lions here, obviously nothing to play for. Packers, I believe nothing to play for. Yeah. So in this case, not much to say. I'm just taking the Lions home underdog favorite. Like, sure, why not?
Yeah, I agree. It doesn't hurt them to win this game, so why not go out and win the game?
Yeah.
So I've got Lions as well, if that wasn't clear.
Yeah. Next game up, the Chicago Bears 6-10 on the road to face Minnesota Vikings. Another game. Neither of these teams have really much to play for, and really probably the difficult, funny thing is I'm not sure which team could care even less than the other one about playing for their coach, as they'll probably both be fired after this. So, who do you like in this?
I'm gonna take Nagy to go out on a win. Give me the Bears plus 2.5.
I'm taking Nagy as well. It seems like Zimmer has done more to burn the bridges in the locker room than Nagy has. And on top of, I think there was some nepotism article that came out, and I can't remember which publication it had, but I know Mike Zimmer's son was definitely a notable figure in it. So one more knock against the Vikings. So
yeah, I mean, good for Kirk Cousins coming off the list, and he's going to play. Yeah. But I mean, it's very possible the Vikings just roll it up, but it would be so fitting for the Bears to win this game, and then we have to wait 3 weeks before they finally fire Nagy.
Yeah, well, they've already waited too long. What's another 3 weeks? Next up, the Washington Commanders 6-10.
Oh,
sounds terrible. Weird. Ugh, this just doesn't roll off the tongue. On the road to face New York Giants 4-12. Giants here plus 6.5, and again, these teams have nothing much to play for. It's just comical, if anything, just to make fun of Joe Judge. I'm taking the Giants here plus 6.5. It's only because the Giants have lost 6 or 7 straight against the spread. I feel like they're due for some sort of backdoor cover or luck. I don't know, something. Look, I've looked like an ass the last 2 or 3 weeks that I've picked them, and I'm not going to be the one to pick against them the week that they somehow cover. So give me this stupid game.
Well, I mean, this is the last chance. They've lost 5 straight. They've lost by 11, 16, 15, 24, and 26. So I just want you to know that that's essentially going up each game. I'm going to take Washington here just because the Giants have incentive to lose to better their draft pick, and so they can have 2 in the top 7, I think. So give me Washington here to just crush the Giants, who have lost by nearly 100 points combined in the last 5 games.
What a gift that both of these ownership groups have given the Cowboys fan base, just to be completely heads up their own asses. It's incredible.
Yeah. Fair, I love it. I hate the Giants so much. I'm so glad that they've been the worst franchise along with the Jets the last 5 years.
So bad. Next game up, Indianapolis Colts 9-7 on the road to face Jacksonville Jaguars 2-14. Jaguars here plus 15.5. Of course, I mentioned earlier Trevor Lawrence probably So ready for this game to just be over and done with, move on to the offseason. The Colts, I believe, have to win to get in. So they are
Correct.
highly, highly motivated. Who do you like?
Yes. I like the Colts to just push the Jags around and get Jonathan Taylor Offensive Player of the Year. You're right, they do need to win. I mean, there's a scenario and they can get in with a loss as long as the Steelers and Chargers lose and then the Dolphins beat the Patriots. But why don't you just go out and win and get in? Now, it is worth noting that the Colts have not won in Jacksonville since 2014, Lewis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right. Did not know that.
Most of those games, they didn't have Andrew Luck.
Right.
If you remember in 2021, that was week 1. The Jags won in Jacksonville over the Colts and then didn't win again the rest of the year. But there's a lot of Jacoby Brissett in there, so give me the Colts to finally win for the first time in Jacksonville in like 7 years.
I do think it's almost something bizarre that happens every last week of the season, and it's just like, oh, these 2 or 3 teams, they just win and they're in. Easy check-off box. And it's like they play a team that could care less, and somehow they manage to just fumble it up. And memory serves right, it almost seems like every Chargers Week 17 game, Philip Rivers. But
Dolphins, too.
I'm not saying it's going to hit the Dolphins, too. The Jaguars, and to my point, I think it was the Dolphins last year. I'm taking the Jaguars plus 15.5 here. I think this is going to be one of those stupid close games where we're in the fourth quarter and we're wondering, much like when the Jaguars beat the Bills 2 months ago, what the hell is going on? And it's going to be some combination of Carson Wentz picks and the Jaguars being really good against the run, and then some fifth string running back for the Jaguars going off for 2 touchdowns or something.
Jags do need to lose to get the 1 seed, or to get the number 1 pick.
Well, good thing is that they have so much room to cover here with 15.5 that they absolutely can keep this close and lose, and everybody leaves happy. So I'm taking the Jags plus 15.5. Next game up, the Pittsburgh Steelers 8-7-1 on the road to face the Baltimore Ravens 8-8. I believe here the Steelers win, and with some help that they get in, the Ravens with a win need a lot more help to get in.
Correct. The Ravens get in with a win and a Colts, Chargers, and Dolphins loss. The Steelers get in with a win and a Colts loss, and then, which I really hope this happens, but as long as the Chargers and Raiders don't tie and the Colts lose and the Steelers win, the Steelers get in. I want the Chargers-Raiders tie so badly. But we need a Colts loss. We need a Colts loss in order for that to matter.
I mean, that's why you got to take the Jags plus the points, just because that's the most fun outcome, right? It's like the Jags just pull the dumbest ever.
I mean, yes, that would be great, but I don't want to hitch all of my wagon to Colts losing.
I know. Who do you like in this one?
Gosh, Lewis. Lamar's not playing again.
Rough.
I can't believe it. So give me the Steelers plus 4.5. It's really that simple for me. Neither of these teams is likely to make the playoffs, so there's really not much going on. They'll both look up at the scoreboard in the third quarter, see the Colts dominating the Jags, and they'll pack it in. So give me the Steelers and the points.
I don't want to mess up my whole dashboard here. Can you tell me, have the Ravens, I think they've lost 5 straight, at least.
I believe that is correct. Let me get
Can you imagine a team at 8-3 and missing the playoffs?
They have lost 5 straight. Now, I think at least 4 of those have been without Lamar, if not all 5. Now, he played against the Steelers last time, and they lost by 1. But here's the crazy thing, Lewis. Yes, they have lost 5 in a row. They've lost by 1, by 2, by 1. Then they got killed by the Bengals by 20, and then they lost by 1. So 4 losses by 2 or fewer.
It's just been a bad luck season. I mean, I don't even know if you can say disappointing, but I don't want to ramble here on, and what we'll probably discuss in the offseason about the Ravens. I'll take the Steelers here. I think they have some good mojo coming off the win against the Browns last week. I think they realize their chances are a little bit better to make the playoffs, and I think if the Jaguars end up keeping it close, they're going to be very motivated to play out this game. So give me the Steelers plus 4.5. Next game up, AFC South. We've got Tennessee Titans here, 11-5 on the season, on the road to face the Houston Texans, 4-12. Titans need to win to maintain the 1 seed, assuming the Chiefs end up beating the Broncos, which I think we can say is basically a lock. Titans minus 10.5 on the road here. If for some reason the Chiefs were to lose, so give me your pick, and then also tell me if the 1% chance the Broncos win Saturday night, does that change your pick?
No, I'm going to actually lock the Texans here.
Wow.
They beat the Titans earlier this year, if you remember. I don't think they're going to win this game because the Titans have way too much to lose in order to take this lightly. But 10.5 at home, divisional opponent who's been live the last few weeks. I like Houston here getting 10.5 at home. So no, the outcome of Saturday. If the Chiefs win, if the Chiefs lose on Saturday, then I love the Texans even more. But it doesn't change my mind. Give me the Texans. Locking the Texans.
I'm taking the Titans here, minus 10.5. It's very, very much like how I view the Chiefs. I think they are going to be very amped to get into the playoffs. And knowing that they're a 1 seed and knowing that they haven't been touted, they're already feeling the disrespect. I think they're going to steamroll the Texans. So I'm taking the Titans minus 10.5.
Well, that's what leads me to my question for you, Lewis, is out of the AFC playoff teams, where does Tennessee rank for you? Because, they win, they are the 1 seed. I don't think either of us thinks they're the best team in the AFC.
Honestly, you may think this is stupid. They're number 2 for me.
Okay. I mean, fine.
I think,
so you have them behind the Chiefs?
Have they not? Yeah, I have them behind the Chiefs. I believe they've beaten both the Chiefs and the Bills this year.
They had Derrick Henry in both of those games.
That's right. But I know it hasn't seemed like it, but it seems like their rushing and offensive statistics have more or less stabilized if you compare them.
Well, I mean, that's fine. They've also, in the last 4 weeks, played the Jags, Steelers, Niners, and Dolphins, none of which are playoff teams. And before that, they got annihilated by the Patriots, and then they lost to the Texans. So they've won 3 out of their last 6, and none of those 3 wins are good whatsoever.
All right. So we'll just disagree on that one.
I want to clean that up. The Niners are actually in the playoffs as of right now, but they could miss the playoffs. So,
yeah.
Sorry.
We'll see. Next game up, NFC South, New Orleans Saints 8-8, on the road to face the Atlanta Falcons 7-9. Falcons are plus 4.5 home underdogs. This one I'm not sure about. Do the Saints have any shot of getting in?
Yes, they do. The Saints get into the playoffs with a win and a Niners loss.
Okay. I'm locking the Falcons. I think this is one of the 3 or 4 games that we're going to go through and think, why does this team care at all? And I think the fact that they're a divisional opponent and they have a chance to knock their rival out of the playoffs with a win, perfect spot. The Falcons have been trash, and the Saints have been very inconsistent. I know a lot of that was with Taysom Hill, I think, missing at least that 1 week. But I think I can feel it in my bones, Kyle. So I'm locking the Falcons. And this is my upset of the week.
Okay. I am taking the Falcons as well, mostly because of everything that you said here. They beat the Saints 27-20 earlier in the year. It would just be so Atlanta to just go ahead and win this game that literally doesn't matter. And for the Saints, who have had real trouble moving the football in recent weeks, to go to struggle against Atlanta, which loves to allow teams to move the football. So, yeah, I'm with you there. I think it's going to be just like a weird sort of 20-17 game. that could go either way. So give me the Falcons.
So you said this, the Niners are currently in. So if the Niners lose and the Saints lose, the Niners still get in. Is that right?
Correct. The Niners clinch with either a win or a Saints loss. So if they both lose, the Niners are in.
That would be hilarious if the Niners lost and still got in somehow. Next game up, the New York Jets 4-12 on the road to face Buffalo Bills 10-6. Bills here minus 16.5, and that seems like an insane spread. But as you've pointed out aptly several times, the Bills either win by like 3 or they win by 20, something to that effect.
No. They lose by 3 or win by 20.
Okay, there we go. So, having regurgitated or summarized what you've brought up before, which side are you on?
So the Bills have to win in order to win the AFC East.
If only that was that easy.
Sorry, they win the division with a win or a Patriots loss. The Bills weirdly cannot get the 1 seed, but the Patriots can. So Bills need to win. Jets, I mean, good for them for, I guess, sort of playing better the last few weeks, but Bills take care of business here and just crush the Jets.
Yeah.
I've got the Bills.
Bills, as you brought up before, they had nothing to play for in Week 17 last year, and they just went and they whipped up on the Dolphins. I think they come in, they rev up for the playoffs with a big win here, and I'm locking the Bills. The Jets have covered 3 straight. Are they really going to cover 4 straight to end the season? Doubtful. I feel like you're going to see the Bills, you're going to see the Titans, you're going to see the Chiefs all rolling into the playoffs, and it's just like you're going to good luck trying to pick a team as a clear favorite heading in. Well, I guess the Chiefs are a clear favorite, but you know what I mean. Next game up, the New England Patriots 10-6 on the road to face Miami Dolphins 8-8. Dolphins here plus 6.5, and after winning 7 straight, the loss last week, I believe knocked them out of the playoffs, or do they have a chance?
Yeah, they're done.
Okay.
They're done.
So Dolphins nothing to play with. Patriots seeding implications, division implications. I'm taking the Patriots here. I feel like they had maybe 1 or 2 missteps the last 2 months, but other than that, they've been very sound. And much like with the Jags last week, fighting against a hapless opponent, I think they come in here and they take care of business.
Yeah, the Patriots can still win the division if they win and the Bills lose. The Patriots, like I said, can get the 1 seed with a win, and the Bills, Titans, and Chiefs all losing. So we'll know if the Patriots have a chance at the 1 seed going into their game if the Chiefs and Titans both lose, which is very unlikely, as we've said. It'll be – so I wonder what happens if – okay, so if the Titans win and then the Chiefs lose and the Bills win, the Titans still get the 1 seed.
Yeah.
So – I don't know. Weird stuff. That's okay. We've already talked about it. Sorry, I can go down the rabbit hole with playoff scenarios. I'm going to take the Patriots as well. Dolphins disaster last week. Nothing to play for. Although it would be so Dolphins to come out and win this game. And Miami's been a house of horrors for the Patriots in the past. The Dolphins beat the Patriots way back in Week 1. If you remember, Damian Harris fumbled on the Dolphins 20-yard line, and
so stupid.
Patriots ended up losing. But Patriots defense has been really good. Dolphins offense has nothing. I'll take the Patriots as well.
All right. Next game up, the Carolina Panthers 5-11 on the road to face Tampa Bay Bucks. Bucks 12-4 and an eventful week with no Antonio Brown now, and we've got Cyril Grayson, who may or may not be wide receiver 2 or 3 on the depth chart. I'm taking the Panthers here plus 7.5. I think they've been on a real just downturn the last 2 months. Matt Rule is a clown, but I think the offensive inconsistencies with the Bucks coupled with this being a divisional game. I mean, I guess I keep saying that. Aren't they all divisional games?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so this is just stupid to say that now. More than a touchdown. I think this game is relatively close. We saw the Bucks win by like 20 just a couple weeks
26.
26 just a couple weeks ago. I think that's going to be fresh in people's minds. I think this is a complete flip of the script. So give me the Panthers plus 7.5.
Buccaneers don't have anything to play for other than finding some offensive rhythm going in the playoffs. They are locked into the 3 seed. Panthers